up the most, we do the most up. Got a wretched in my coat, got a girl doing coke. We drink up and we smoke, but she always do the most. It kinda turned me on the way she licking on my stones. My chains on antifreeze, it look like I made a clone. Wanna see you get.
Hi guys, this episode of the Basshole Podcast is sponsored by Boomerang Energy. Boomerang Energy is a Duluth-based energy drink that contains more natural and healthy ingredients while still keeping its incredible taste and long-lasting energy to get you through the day. Even though the Timberwolves bring us down with their lack of play, Boomerang Energy is here to save the day. Use the code BASSHOLE for 10% at checkout on your next purchase.
Hey guys, welcome back to this episode of Timberwolves Talk. I'm Peyton and that is Chris. A special thank you to Woe's Eye or King Physique, as many of you know him, for the intro video. We really appreciate it. You can go check out his Instagram. He's got plenty of other dancing videos just like that if you want to see that. We got a very jam-packed Timberwolves Talk today. We're going to start out talking about the last two games, the Wizard and the Suns games. And then we're going to get into some Timberwolves news. There's a lot of stuff going on right now that we want to talk about. And then finally, we're going to get into some of our subscribers commented on our last video, and we're going to go over their comments and get into that. So stay tuned for another great episode.
For sure. I guess getting into the Wizards game, it's a lot of the same story for this Timberwolves team in the past however many games it is. Like, we're in the game until halftime, and then Bradley Beal and company go on I don't even know the exact run. I think it was 23-5-ish run, and they kind of blow us out of the water, and that's just the way it went. I mean, Anthony Edwards had a very inefficient game. We didn't have Malik or D'Lo, obviously. We didn't really get to see Jarrett Culver play, which was interesting due to the fact we thought we were going to get to see him on a minutes restriction. But yeah, it was one of those games that was like, yeah, this is the Timberwolves. I mean,
yeah, it's crazy if some people thought that getting the new head coach right away would fix all of our problems and make it just completely different right out the gate. Right out the gate. Obviously, there's something I want to touch on under Chris Finch right now. He has had 4 games in 4 different cities, and he's only had 1 practice. So you're telling me how is he possibly supposed to turn things around with 1 practice?
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible. Like, our offense looks decent again. We're scoring at least in the triple digits. Even during the Wizards game, we won 2 out of the 4 quarters. Like, we were even with them 2 out of the 4 quarters. But like I said earlier, the big story was the third quarter collapse where we let them score 44 points in 1 quarter again. And a 40-point quarter, guys, is not a common thing. Like, it shouldn't be
with us it is.
It shouldn't be a common reoccurring thing. Like, a 40-point quarter is an incredible quarter, and we let that happen against us way too many times. So, I mean, you look at the first quarter, we outscored them 29-27. Second quarter, they outscored us 27-23. Third quarter, obviously, 44-29. And then the fourth quarter, we outscored them by 1. But it's just, if you let up a massive quarter, you're going to lose. Like, you're going to, and in 3 of the quarters, we scored about 30 points. So, I mean, you should be able to win a game like that is the issue.
Yeah, it's funny. Just any single time the Timberwolves go up against like a elite scoring player, that player is going to go off. Like Bradley Beal, you knew he was going to have a great game. Devin Booker, you knew he was going to have a great game. Zach LaVine, you knew he was going to have a great game. It's just those players are just salivating at the mouth when they get to see that they are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that's just, it's tough, but also, I mean, no one should be blaming this on Chris Finch right now.
No,
not a single person, because he hasn't been able to do anything. And I think once he finally gets to have a few practices, then maybe we can start to judge him a little bit. And he doesn't have his two.
He doesn't have Malik or D'Lo right now. Like, it's impossible to judge him off these first few games. I mean, I think the offense has been looking better. It's just the players haven't been too efficient. And I think that was frustrating for me watching these past 2 games, because like, this is Ant and Cat's time to shine, like, right now, and like put up insane numbers in these past few games. I mean, Ant scored above 20 the past 2. I think he scored 21 in the Wizards game and 24 in the Suns, but both of them are on fairly inefficient shooting. Cat doing about the same thing, like 23 points in the Wizards game, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, which is nice. But obviously you want Cat averaging 30 right now, I think, when everyone's out, and that's what we really want to see. I thought Okogie actually had a pretty decent game against the Wizards. There were some comments after the game from Bradley Beal. I don't know if you saw those, but like you're saying, Okogie was fouling him every single time, and I thought Okogie played actually really good defense on Bradley Beal, and with pretty efficient numbers: 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. I mean, that's what we need Josh Okogie to do, is play good defense and put up stats like that.
Yeah,
so that was nice to see.
I got a question for you. How many, without looking at stats, which I know you might be right now, how many assists did Cat and Anthony Edwards have combined in the last 2 games? Just a guess. I know the number. Just what do you think?
Well, I know that Ant didn't have any in the first game, and I think Cat had 5. So I would say like 12-ish, 13-ish.
7.
7
Wow. Combined assists in the last 2 games.
That's crazy, man.
That's crazy. After my mistake last time, I made sure I got the stats down. I got all the stats. I mean, Cat 23, 11, and 5 against the Wizards. You look at that stat line, and I love the 5 assists. That's what I like to see in Cat. It makes it seem that he's the offense is running through him a little bit more. 23 points. Obviously, you could bump that up a little bit. But the Suns game, a 21, 10, and 1 game for Cat is just, that's a very...
He did not. I thought, I guess getting into the Suns game now, but I legitimately thought Ayton dominated Towns that game. And even the Timberwolves commentators were talking about it, how like Ayton was having anything he wanted on Cat. There was no sign of Cat stopping Ayton, and that's the biggest issue. It obviously, like, the COVID situation happened, and Cat's not the same player at the moment, but it's really tough to see him get bullied. Like, I don't know if you guys see what I'm seeing, but every time he tries to back a center down on offense, even, he can't do it.
He looks goofy.
He looks goofy. He looks mechanical. I can't understand it. Like, he's flailing everywhere, and
it's
the
like,
dude's just standing there.
Have you seen the image of DeMarcus Cousins and Karl Anthony Towns? That's kind of what it looks like. He's just weak. And a stat, because I'm the stat guy now, a stat I'd like to talk to you about is since Cat returned, what do you think the Timberwolves record is?
We haven't won a game, have we?
We're 1-10 since Cat.
Oh, we have?
Back.
Dang.
That's terrible.
I saw we were 2-14 this February. So if that's an indicator of how well they're doing right now, there you go.
But yeah, so like, I guess like that's kind of like, everyone thought that the only reason we were losing was because Cat was out. And obviously now we can say that that's not the case. It's not just, so people are saying like, if Cat's the only reason that you guys are losing, either he is a top 3 player in the NBA or your roster is terrible.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest issue. Cause I think if all these pieces were healthy, I think we put up a decent season, like a 500 season, but like, that shouldn't be like, look at Memphis with Ja out and Jaren Jackson out. They're able to win without those pieces. What Gerson needs to do for us is assemble a roster that can win without a star. Like, it
or
needs
at least
to be able
be
to
competitive. We don't need to win every game. We need to be a competent NBA team.
Yeah,
and we're not that right now.
Actually, a fun but sad stat I just saw today on Twitter was the Timberwolves right now are the only team with the same playoff odds as winning the finals odds, and it's less than 0.1%, which is
that's terrible.
That's not what you want to see. So I less than 0.1% of making the playoffs, guys. I think obviously all of us know that dream is pretty far fetched from reality. Yeah. So really, right now, I want to see us win some games, but a lot of us fans are just now trying to bank on this 40% chance of getting a top 3 pick. Like I'll admit, for me at least, I want to win, but it's like I want to win. I'm not relying on the draft, but like as a team, we are relying on this top 3 pick.
Yeah, and if you saw Cade Cunningham this weekend,
oh my goodness,
dude, that guy. I was about to wear my I have an Oklahoma State shirt. I was about to wear it just to I'm gonna go put it on actually. But
Man, that 40 point, 11 rebound, whatever it was, performance. My goodness, man, he turned it on and he did not turn it off.
no,
I could not believe what I was watching. I had to turn the game on when I was seeing notifications, but he's clutch, man. He's clutch. He can play great defense. Everyone thought his biggest weakness was shooting. He showed us he can shoot.
mid-range, man. He's got a great mid-range game.
He's undisputed number one. I don't see anyone even close to him at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
I watched the lad from USC. I don't remember his name, Mobley.
Evan Mobley.
I wasn't that impressed. I'm not like he did not. He was playing against hell, I don't know who he was playing against, but he didn't have that star power that Cade Cunningham has, or even
Yeah,
Jalen Suggs. He didn't really control the game the way that I was expecting to see him. So man, I just hope we get in that top one. I hope we can get,
I don't know. I don't think the NBA loves the Timberwolves, and I think there's obviously I'm not gonna say the NBA lottery is rigged or anything
But it
of
is.
that nature, but the year that we get the number one pick is declared as one of the lesser draft classes. So obviously this draft class is fairly high powered. I don't know. I hope we get the number one pick, but I mean, if we get top 3 in general, that's just a ginormous win. You got 4 really great players. Cade Cunningham's a lock at this point to be like a Ben Simmons with a shot, which is extremely scary. Jonathan Kuminga looks amazing on the G League team right now. Him and Jalen Green look really good. So I'm excited to see how those 2 G League prospects play out because they're playing really good. They're averaging upwards of almost 20 points in the G League right now. So that's really good to see. It's a really good sign that the G League is working.
yeah.
And then you mentioned Evan Mobley, who maybe needs a little bit longer to develop, but he's 7 feet tall and he can shoot at a very high clip and he can play tremendous defense. So, I mean, if you pair him and Cat together at the 4 and the 5, I think that would be really interesting to see how they play out together. So, I mean, any of those 4 options, even you can throw in Jalen Suggs there. It's just I didn't throw him in because obviously our point guard position is a little bit crowded at the moment.
No, not our point guard. Seriously though, if we added him I guess we have D'Lo though. That's the problem.
That's the thing. We can get into D'Lo in a little bit, but I wouldn't draft Jalen Suggs if I were the Timberwolves this year, in my opinion.
All right.
But he can be a top three prospect for another team for sure. But I'm sold on Cade Cunningham. I think obviously I just said get Jalen Suggs out of here. He's a point guard, but Cade Cunningham, he's a point guard, but he's a trade whoever you have on your team for type point guard.
You build your team around him.
D'Lo, I'm sorry if we get him. Hopefully we can work it out. I mean, who knows, man? You have Cade, D'Lo at the 1 and 2. You have Ant-Man at the 3, whoever at the 4, and Cat at the 5, and then Malik
off the bench. That's scary.
You got to be able to win with that team.
You got to.
There's no if you have that team, there's no losing.
That's like a team you make up in NBA
2K simulation.
Yeah, like that team. God, if we got that team together, and it's not that
like
far
the Nets,
off.
man.
Dude, that team could happen very easily. We just have to get lucky.
I mean, yeah, and we'd have Cade Cunningham and Ant-Man on rookie contracts for the next 3 years. Cade for the next 4 years.
If you don't
paying D'Lo and Cat and then Malik a little bit, guys,
we can get a elite 4, like a great power forward with that money we have sitting around, and who wouldn't want to come play for us with that roster?
I mean, it's fun to think about. It's fun to think about, but then again, I thought this roster, after going 0-2. Beating the Jazz, I was like, maybe we finally found the team. Well, we were healthy. We were fully healthy, but
yeah, that's just the problem. We can't stay healthy.
We are the unlucky. I'll say this: we are the most injury-plagued team this year and the most unluckiest when it comes to injuries. Because we would not be the worst team in the league right now. I guarantee you, there are worse teams than the Timberwolves in the league as a roster as a whole. The
I'm
Pistons for sure.
I'm just kind of looking at it as a positive, as I'm trying to find some positives out of it. Just kind of like we have so much talent, but we're losing. And this is, I guess it's only going to make the team stronger, and it's only going to make the people that actually want to be part of this team be able to stay on this team and be in here for the long run, I guess. Like, that's really the only positive you can take out of it. Like, Ant is he's learning how to lose. He's learning that this hopefully is going to be the toughest season of his whole career.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
he's still
rookies
smiling
are
through it,
inefficient though.
yeah, he
It's
is
just the way it goes. It's the way it goes. There's ups and downs of the rookie season. I'm really happy with what I've seen so far. So we're gonna get him more efficient. He's gonna develop a better shot. He's gonna be a beast. We're still on the Ant-Man train for sure.
Oh yeah, come on. How could
But
you not be
man,
on it?
you gotta like, obviously, guys. Peyton and I we wanted to select LaMelo with the first pick in the draft this year, and you can't not see what LaMelo is doing right now in the NBA, and like it's what we expect. It's more than we expected. Even he's playing incredible. He's absolutely playing incredible, leading the league in scoring, assists, almost leading the league in rebounding.
For
He's
rookies.
3-pointers above 40%. Like,
He's playing well. He's playing well. And it's
playing
hard to
well.
look over there and be like, damn, that could be us.
Charlotte's a fun team too. So I mean,
Yeah. So
okay.
I guess let's get into some Timberwolves news. The first topic I want to talk about is Culver's. Jarrett is back, and he is he's kind of what we expected to see when he came back, but I just want to hear your thoughts on him on his return.
I mean, coming from like a really severely sprained ankle, obviously he's gonna be like, I don't expect him to play well right out of the gates. He had some bounce the one game though. Yeah, he had that nice dunk. He's you guys know how I feel about Jarrett Culver. I don't want to give up on him, but it's tough to see us taking him sixth, and he still hasn't developed that shot. He hasn't developed that free throw really. He's a better inside scorer. That's good. It's a plus. He's a decent defender, but
His
I don't
confidence,
know. His confidence is low right now.
and you can tell.
When it's payday in 2 years, are you gonna give him a contract, or are you gonna let him sign somewhere else? I think you got to go let him explore new avenues and hopefully revitalize his career somewhere else, because I don't know where it would be going here. I think we're just wing heavy. I mean, Anthony Edwards, Malik, Okogie, I mean, McDaniels now. We'll talk about McDaniels, but there's just not a lot of room. There's not a lot of room for Culver. I don't know where he fits in. So in my opinion, I think Culver would probably be a trade candidate before the deadline.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and we'll get into the trades later. But it's just kind of sad, man. To be honest, like, you can just see the confidence. I don't know what needs to happen. Maybe a few games down in the G League. Can you do that? Can you?
At this point, no, I don't even think he's allowed to go down to the G League. But it's at this point, it's he needs a new change of scenery. I don't think Minnesota is the place for him. I really don't. I just think it's too wing heavy.
But what about in the beginning?
The philosophy just doesn't play into his. This is my whole thing on him is, if we want to be the 3-point shooting team, the in and out type team, pick and rolling, that's not Jarrett Culver's game is the issue. So
I agree, man.
He just doesn't fit the philosophy.
I want him to succeed so bad, because in those first preseason games, like, he looked great and we were all in. We were like, I think you might have made this take, or I did. Someone did. Someone said on this podcast, one of the two, probably me. But I think I said that Culver and Anthony Edwards could be like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the future. And that might be one
hopefully you. I don't think I said that.
That might be one of the worst takes I've ever heard. But it's just like, I don't know. I think he's still got a little bit left. And I think he's coming off a couple months out. Like, that was his first couple games. Like, what do you expect? He just needs to get his confidence going, and, like, I don't know, he can be a decent player in our rotation. I'd rather have
I
him than Jake Layman on the court.
I think we just trade him while his value's up right now, though, because like teams see that and they see him in an overcrowded position. And what if we keep him for the next 2 years or whatever, and he just does the same exact thing? Like he's gonna have no trade. Like you got to trade him while he's super young still, while we can still get a 4 back, hopefully a competent 4. I first of all though, I think Vando's actually been playing pretty good at the 4. I think he's been a nice role player. I think it was the Wizards game, actually. He started off the game like 5 for 5 with 11 points, something like that. Vando was playing really well. He's a good rebounder, pretty good defender. But he can't shoot is the issue.
He's a great backup 4. That's what I've been saying.
He's a great backup 4.
We need a starting 4. A real starting 4 in the NBA. And I don't know how much more we need to ask. Everyone knows we need a 4. And like if that doesn't happen at the trade deadline, I don't know what's going on here.
So some would say Jaden McDaniels. Someone bring up the name Jaden McDaniels, and this is what I have to say to the Jaden McDaniels argument at the 4. Jaden McDaniels is a really good defender. He rebounds decent. He's a great shot blocker. He can hit threes. He hasn't been shooting very well the past few games, but he can hit them. I don't think he's big enough right now to play the 4. Like, I don't think he just gets bodied every single time he's on a physical 4. And that leads to us getting out rebounded. And then that's one of our biggest problems is we get out rebounded. We're just more, the other team is always bigger than us, guys. We don't have a player over 7 feet on this roster. Cat's 6'11". Like, we're not going to win being that small. I never liked the Rockets small ball, and I don't like Timberwolves kind of playing small ball.
Well, because it's just terrible. Like I kind of liked it on the Rockets a little bit, but I hated
they were good. They were good enough to execute it. Like PJ Tucker is good enough to play. He's big enough. He's smart enough. He's a veteran to do that. Josh Okogie is not smart enough yet to play the 4. I don't think.
Josh Okogie wants to play the 5. Like he said, let me play the 5. He said, put Cat at 4, let me play the 5. And then
we play him at the 4 to start the first few games, and we all saw how that worked out. I mean,
dude, he just takes some terrible shot. Like every time he drives to the hoop, he looks like me trying to drive the hoop. Like,
yeah,
like it just has no chance. Like he has no finishing ability. He just throws it up there.
So we were talking about 4s. There's 2 prominent 4s that are I'm not going to say on the trade block, but are receiving offers for them. And that's obviously 2 players we've talked about before in Aaron Gordon and John Collins. So I think the benefit of John Collins is, first of all, he's a 20 and 10 player, which is with great defense. He's physical. He can rebound, but is he going to be a 1-year rental is now the issue with that. I don't want to trade Rubio and possibly a first for a 1-year rental when we already possibly might not have a first this year. Yeah, so we need to keep draft compensation. That's the biggest thing for us. We're a small market team. We have to build through the draft. That's why I'm saying. So obviously, John Collins is the better player than Aaron Gordon. John Collins can shoot the 3.
And that's what we want.
With Aaron Gordon, he's cheaper. We can restructure a deal and extend him actually without having to get rid of anybody. We're going to have to give up less for Aaron Gordon. Maybe just a couple bench pieces in a second or something. And I like that a lot better because I know what Aaron Gordon gives you. I know he can D up, and I know at least he can rebound. He's got a good vertical. He can shoot a little bit. So, I mean, I think Aaron Gordon fits in with that core perfectly. 25, 26 years old. He'll grow as the team grows. Mm-hmm. So I think we need a couple more. Yeah. And the whole argument I made with a friend yesterday too was you look at teams like we used the Twins as an argument. They're a perfect championship looking team right now because of the mix of veterans and young talent they have. They have a lot of great vets. Nelson Cruz, Josh Donaldson, and then they have a lot of really good younger talent in Kepler, Buxton. They have a great mix. Right now, the Wolves have only young players. Ed Davis is the only older player, and Ricky's like intermediate. Even he's not even really that old. I mean, he's a veteran, but he's the only veteran that's playing.
Yeah.
We need veterans that are in the starting lineup.
Seriously, I agree.
So I mean, you can't be an average of 23 and a half years old and expect to win a championship.
No.
You don't have the pedigree to do it. You have to have veterans, and no veterans are going to want to come to the Timberwolves right now, obviously.
Yeah, because
they
usually
want to win a chip.
Veterans are going to sign onto these championship rosters and making a run at the playoffs. No veteran's gonna want to even come here if we don't have anything to offer them. It's just not feasible.
So yeah, that's why I think Collins or Gordon both grow. Collins is a little bit younger. I think he's 22 or 23. But Gordon grows right into that draft class with Cat and D'Lo. So I don't know. I don't know what you give up for him. I mean, I'd really love to keep Noel. He's been a bright spot for sure. I mean, averaging double digits off the bench. I'd like to keep Noel, but obviously he probably would get packaged.
Kogi, I'd love to get rid of.
You might give up Rubio for Collins to match salaries. Probably be a Rubio.
But look at that right now. Where does that leave us with only McLaughlin at point guard?
And minus a vet. So I mean,
yeah, like
it's a tough situation.
It's tough, but Rubio.
We can't give up first. We can't give up. I'm reluctant to give up a second because actually one thing the Timberwolves do is find fairly good second round talent.
And undrafted.
Jalen Noel, Nas, Jared Vanderbilt. So I like our late round picks actually. So it's tough. It's tough. I don't know what you do, but if you want someone, you got to obviously give up something. And at the end of the day, I'd be reluctant, but I probably would give up Noel or Rubio for a player.
Yeah, I wouldn't be reluctant to give up Rubio. And did you I want to get into Rubio's comments after last night's game. He was being brutally honest. He basically said, like, I just don't feel like we're building something here right now. And
yeah,
he's right. But was that the right thing to say?
No.
Especially after we bring in a new coach, like, it's almost like saying, like, he didn't think that was the right move, because I think what we're doing is building something by bringing in a new coach and bringing in a new system. That's exactly what we're doing, is we're building something new.
What it sounded like to me is almost like, I hope he didn't mean this, but it like sounded like he was giving up on some of the younger guys. He was giving up on the team a little bit and saying, like, this isn't working right now. We're not going anywhere. We're not building anything. And when you got guys like Ant or Culver or even D'Lo and Cat, who are the leaders of this team and who have to lead this team, that's not good to put that in their ear. Nor Malik. I'm sure Malik's probably pissed. I mean, I'm sure that's something he would be pissed about.
Usher? Did you know he looked? I was at work and they had like his podcast. For some, it was weird that they had his episode of the podcast on before the game. Like, you know how they do Wolves Plus or whatever?
Yep. They had Malik's on?
Yeah, they had Malik's on. I'm like, all right, like, we probably should not be promoting Malik Beasley right now after what's going on with him. But yeah, they said he looked like Usher, and I was like, I can see that. That's kind of funny.
But yeah, I didn't love the comments actually. Some people praised it in the like, we love how Ricky's being brutally honest. I mean, you can be brutally honest, but like at the end of the day, Ricky, you're the one that's supposed to shift the culture. You're the one who's supposed to come in here and help these young guys build something. And if you're saying this right there now, that means you failed too. It's not just the team that's failed. That means you failed.
Yeah, like, who are you pointing at, Ricky? Who are you pointing at? You pointing at the coach because he's gone. Now there's a new coach. Like, there's no one to really.
You can't point fingers at Chris Finch yet. No one. I don't even know if he's implemented an offense. It's probably just a bunch of pick and roll.
He's had one practice, and was someone holding up a mirror during that Zoom call? Was he talking to himself? Was it a deeper meaning? Is that what Ricky was trying to get at? Is the only thing that would make sense to me, because
the thing that I got from that is like, wow, like, I don't know. I take those comments as like, you almost don't want to be here. Like, you almost don't believe in here. And
it's kind of a way of declaring, is like demanding a trade without demanding a trade. That's just kind of how I know that probably wasn't what he meant, but it seemed like he was almost saying, like, I'm out. Like, that's it. Like, get me out of here. Get me on a contender.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
He saw the Suns playing and he used to play there, and he's like, that's like, get me out. Like, I want to go back to a team like that. I want to be I want to be the starting point guard on the team where I don't have too much pressure to score and I can facilitate and everyone loves me. And I can just be
Yeah,
Ricky.
and like he never wanted to leave the Suns was the one thing too. He got traded.
Yeah.
For to me, it actually sounded like he wanted to be traded, and maybe he does need new scenery because obviously it's just not working here. I don't know. And you can't blame that on the teammates. I mean, you have to take some self responsibility of why it's not working. You can't just have a bad season then like expect to be traded. And
well, let me ask you this: which one of his teammates, which one of these younger teammates that he's talking about, is making him shoot fadeaway, mid-range layups late in game? Who is that? Anthony Edwards? Is that Jaden McDaniels? Which one of them is making him do that? Is that the coach that's saying, "Okay, Ricky, you're gonna go take a fadeaway layup right now because that's what we need"?
Ryan Saunders seemed incompetent at times, but I would hope that the plays he drew up were not Ricky Rubio just taking one-legged mid-rangers.
I hope
I don't
no
think
one
they
ever
were.
draws that play up.
I don't think they were. I really think Ricky just did that. Like I'm sure those shots were either supposed to go to Malik, Cat, or Anthony Edwards. I'm sure of it.
For me, it kind of seems like every basketball team you're on at oh god. Oh, I lost you for a sec there. I think
I just lost you. Yeah, I lost. Hold on.
We back now?
All right, we're good.
All right,
I'm
so
back.
any team that I've been on at like the high school level, there's always that one senior on the team that doesn't play. It's just kind of there along for the ride. And at first they're super hyped up, super excited. Like they're fine not playing. Like they're happy to see the younger kids playing. They're getting excited on the bench. But then at a certain point in the season, they kind of hit the wall and they're like, I want to like they just get mad. And like that's just kind of the comparison I guess I'm seeing with Ricky. Like he's an older player, but he's not really a leader on the team. So
agreed. There is no leader on the team. I think Malik's kind of a leader. It's just he's not playing. Like, there is no real like. From what I saw from James Johnson last year, he's a leader. Like he knows how to lead. He leads by example. He leads by physicality. He leads by defending his players. We don't have that right now. I don't think we have like a Nikola Pekovic. I don't think we have like a Kevin Garnett. I don't think we have a Kevin Love. I don't think we have one of those players right now who is actually going to take responsibility and take account for this team and lead it, because we always say Cat needs to do that. And I think this year he stepped up a little bit. I think he's making comments. I'm like, okay, that's something a leader would say. I really do. I'd agree with that. So I think maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I think our best shot at a leader is someone that you wouldn't expect really to be a leader yet because he's so young, but I think Anthony Edwards really has that leadership mentality, and he
is, man.
And like I think not this year. It's tough to be a leader when you're a rookie, but I see next year or the next year, I think he can really be the guy that steps up as the leader for this team. Just because, dude, that guy, like, I know we love LaMelo. I know LaMelo is a great player, but something about Anthony Edwards' personality is just, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't know how he can be so happy and so joyful, even after a loss, even after he plays bad. He's still positive. And like, that's what a leader is. Like, a leader is a guy that isn't going to like he's upset when they lose for sure, but he's not going to like tear down his teammates. Nothing like that. Like, I could never see Anthony Edwards tearing down a teammate.
Yeah, he's always hyping his teteammates up on the bench.
He's accountable too.
He holds himself accountable for his actions. Whenever he has a bad night, he goes and shoots. He is a leader already. I think he's got that alpha dog mentality. He wants to be better than the next player on the court. Like, you saw him going at LeBron, you saw him going at Russell Westbrook,
Chris Paul. That fadeaway on Chris Paul was I saw him do that and I was like, who was guarding him? And then I saw it was Chris Paul and I'm like,
boy, he's
that
grown
one
up. He's grown up.
Yeah, that one might be like more of an iconic shot than the one against LeBron, because Chris Paul has proven that he is one of the most elite point guards in the NBA for so many years, and he's such a great defensive player. And for Ant just to back him down and fade away like that, like, that's just, again, man, he's a dog.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like we're not trying to sound like the team is in shambles, but at the moment, it's just like it's really tough. I mean, it's tough to watch. It's tough to even talk about at times because it's the same thing. Like it's tough, but we're trying to bring new and exciting things to you guys. It's nice that the trade deadline's coming up.
Yep. Something's
It's
gonna
nice
happen.
it's nice that March Madness is going to be coming up soon. We'll get to watch some of these college prospects and bring you guys some draft analysis and stuff like that. It's going to be it's going to be more exciting. I think there is brighter days ahead. It's just like this is probably the lowest point of the season.
I agree,
it really is.
because we were playing so well those last few games with Ryan Saunders. And I don't know if that was the players kind of like rallying with him, like trying to give him one last chance, like giving him all they had, trying to save his career, trying to save his job as a coach. But ever since Saunders is gone, it's kind of been gone. And I think we've not been playing well since Saunders left. And
info on that though, Saunders may be in the running for the Gophers coach. I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah, we're not
Rick
gonna give the source on that or where we saw that. But yeah, I did see that.
Done.
Darren said, our guy Darren said that somewhere, that he might be the Gophers coach. And honestly, as a Gophers fan, I think we should go in a different direction. I think that I just don't know if I could take that right now. I think Saunders,
that's like a kick in the balls because you just got rid of him and then you bring him back on another team.
Dude, there's no way Saunders would do that. He needs to get out. He needs to spend some time away from Minnesota, grow as a person. Like, I feel like that would just be, because it would just be a bad look for him. Because if he can't coach in the NBA and then he can't coach at college, what's he doing next? Is he going to show up at Hudson High School and be the next varsity basketball coach? Like, he's going backwards, actually. Most people start out as a high school coach, go college, and then NBA. He might be going NBA, college, high school. Then he might start coaching like a random 7th grade team. And then he's going to start his way back up the ladder. And by the time he's 65, we could be seeing him in the NBA again. I think that might be how it's looking for him.
All right. So we promised you guys we would do a react segment where we react to your comments. So I'll pull that up right now. But
yeah, we got a lot of great takes from everyone. I put it together.
You got to enable me to be able to screen share. I guess I'm not that important.
Damn, I don't know. All right, I think you're good. Try it out.
There we go. Okay. We'll just go like this, I guess. Sure. I'll just share the whole screen. Why not?
Yeah. I don't know
how does that look?
Looks great.
Perfect. Let's go into present mode here. Let me put my face down here so I can read these. So the first comment is from Flip Antonio 84. I think people are overreacting on this team. We can still be a near playoff team in the future. Kat, D'Lo, Ant, Malik, Jaden, Vando are all very talented players. We just need time. We've only had this roster fully healthy for less than 5 games. What do you have to say?
Well, Flip, so I 100% agree with you on this. I think that's kind of the way that the Minnesota Timberwolves fan base has been recently, is we love to overreact. And I guess you're right. In the future, we will be a playoff team. And I think it is in the near future. I would say next year we will be a playoff team. I don't see how we could not be a playoff team with all the talent that you list right there. And yeah, you're right. We have not had the roster at all this year. And whenever it seems like the roster's coming back, someone gets hurt or someone gets suspended for an abnormally long amount of time. And it just keeps shooting ourselves in the foot. And yeah, I 100% agree with you, Flip. What do you got to say about that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, we're 2-0 as a fully healthy team. We can say that, right? So
yeah, we got to give him the heart though. The Basshole never loved his comment. We liked it, but we didn't love it.
All right.
I'll read this
long
guy.
one.
I don't know. That reading's tough for me. You can read this one. It's too long. I'll read the next one.
All right. Ryan Saunders never really had a full healthy roster to ever show what he was capable of. I think a lot of people were rooting for him to succeed in the beginning. It would have made for a great and touching story. However, with how the team played with him as coach, I think it was the right decision to fire him. He's young and deserves to have other chances. But since the T-Wolves are so young, it's really important we have the best infrastructure right now around the players so they can develop and get better for the future. I would yeah, I mean, we need an older coach to coach younger players. You can't have a really young coach young players. It's just they need veteran leadership, experience, the right infrastructure to grow, right environment. I'd agree with you on that one for sure.
I think that's a really interesting take I never really thought of. When we say we're the youngest team in the NBA and we also have the youngest coach in the NBA, like that doesn't blend well. You got to bring in an old guy, maybe like 53 years old with 25 years of assistant coaching experience. Something like that at the head coaching, I think would be just a perfect fit. So I don't know, but I think that's a great take by the veterinary medic. All right, I'll read this one.
You can go.
Sadat Saglam. Sorry if I butchered your name. Do you think D'Lo is not a good player anymore? I don't understand, but people keep saying he's not an all-star anymore. He is not plus player because he is too bad on defense. He can't be a second star on a contender. What do you think about him? And then the Iceman.
Okay.
First, we'll say what the Iceman thought about that. He said, D'Lo is a great offensive player, but a mediocre defensive player who has all the tools to be a consistently great defensive player if motivated to do so. So what does Chris have to say about that?
Yeah, I got my boy on right now, so I can address this. I would say I don't think D'Lo is not a good player anymore. D'Lo is still a good player.
That sentence didn't really make sense.
What?
Can you I didn't.
So he said, "Do you think D'Lo is not a good player anymore?" I still think D'Lo is a good player.
There you go.
Maybe I worded that wrong. I still think D'Lo is a good player. I still think he can get back to that 27 points per game in the playoffs. I do think he could possibly become a second star and a contender, but he also just turned 25. The Wolves being directly thrown into the fire of the Timberwolves during a COVID season is not a great situation for him, learning his teammates. I think a full off season of retooling a little bit. His 3-point shot is the best it's ever been in his career. So that's a plus. I think his mid-range fell off a little bit, but I think he can fix it. I think he's getting better at finishing. He has all the tools to be a good defensive player. He's long. He's not the most athletic guy, but he's smart. He's got a high IQ. I do think D'Lo can return to that. I think he just needs the right pieces around him to do so. I think he could score at least 25 next season for sure, or even when he comes back this season. So I haven't given up on D'Lo yet. D'Lo is still one of my favorite players in the NBA. He's such a unique player, I think, is why I really like him. There's no player like D'Angelo Russell in the NBA right now. I think Mike Conley might be the closest thing to him, but there's really no one like D'Lo. So he's got a great floater. He's got a lot of really good tools. He just needs to improve on defense. So yeah,
I think that's a great comment, and I definitely have not given up on D'Angelo Russell. I think I think it's ridiculous for people to be giving up on D'Angelo Russell. That just, honestly, I'd say it's a terrible take.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right.
You want to do this one?
Yeah, I'll read this one. What do you think about the NBAC's comments regarding the hiring of Chris Finch? And then just so you guys could see the comments, we pulled that up on the next slide. So Chris will read that to you.
Okay, so this is a statement from Rick Carlisle, who's the president and the coach of the Mavericks at the moment. So it's always bittersweet when one coach is fired and another is hired. But this is not about individual coaches. We would be remiss not to acknowledge a deeper concern and a level of disappointment with the Minnesota head coach hiring process. The NBCA understands and respects each organization's right to hire and fire whomever and whenever it chooses. But it is also our responsibility to point out when an organization fails to conduct a thorough and transparent search of candidates from a wide range of diverse backgrounds. During this past offseason, we saw many NBA head coaching vacancies where teams led searches that were both diverse and transparent, which, by the way, the Wolves did. This must be the standard. We must establish a level of playing field and equal access to opportunity for all coaching candidates. 100% agreed on that.
Yeah.
The NBCA has been working closely with the league office on a wide range of initiatives that will improve future coaching searches in partnership with the NBA. We look forward to sharing details in weeks to come. And I'll start off on this. I 100% agree with the NBCA's, motive and why they're in an organization, because I do think coaching staffs in general over the past few years need to become more diverse. I agree with that, because you look at the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, there was barely any black or any minority coaches in general. So I think it's a great initiative to have a fair hiring process, especially allow for minorities just to, even if they don't get hired, just to get experience in the hiring process so they can go find another job if they don't get that one. It's important to give them assistant positions. It's important to give them front office positions as well, because that's another thing. Gerson is one of the only minority GMs in the NBA.
I think he's the only.
I think the Raptors one is a minority as well, but I'm not entirely sure. There's not many of them, which is obviously, you want to see a diverse front offices in the NBA. You want to see every creed, color, race represented in the NBA throughout. So this situation is obviously an interesting one, because from the outside, it just looks like obviously Chris Finch was hired on a day or two notice, kind of. That's what it looks like from the outside. So obviously we even saw, at first we were like, wow, like that was a really quick hire. Like, did they even look at Vanderpool? That was Peyton and I's first reaction to it.
Yeah.
I think digging a little deeper, obviously, I think dating back to 2019, was it that Vanderpool was given an interview? A couple other, we actually have, I think we have 3 black assistants on our coaching staff. Anyone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but from what I've heard, a lot of the assistants got a chance to be hired and got at least a due process. So I think that's very important. I think that's the biggest thing, is everyone gets their due process to compete for that head coaching job. But the thing was, I think Chris Finch was Gerson's guy and was one of the, because they interviewed Finch in 2019 as well, if I'm not mistaken. Anyone can comment if we're mistaken. We want to be respectful about this whole situation, because we're just giving our opinions on this.
Yeah.
So I think it was 2019 and that Finch was given an interview for the Wolves job too. So obviously we know that him and Gerson worked together since 2010, with the Houston Rockets G League affiliate, who they both won a championship with in the G League. And they've, Chris Finch has done excellent work throughout the Pelicans organization, Nuggets, mostly recently with the Raptors. And we know Vanderpool has done incredible work over the past, I think it was 7 years with the Blazers, and coaching a dominant backcourt duo in CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard. And people didn't think they could work because CJ is ball dominant, and he made it work there. He was a lot of the reason why Portland was really successful throughout those past 7 years. They made the playoffs almost every year. So they're 2 really great coaches. And at the end of the day, I just thought it was Gerson's connection to Finch is the reason why he was hired. And maybe that there is a deeper concern there, where maybe that some minorities don't have as great of connections as maybe Finch did. So I think maybe they have to explore avenues for I don't know how to say, like, for possibly minorities to gain, greater front office connections, greater coaching connections. But yeah, I can see where, firing Ryan Saunders and hiring Chris Finch, I can see where the concern was. But in my opinion, I completely think it all had to do with just connections. I think it's Gerson's guy. So I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, let me jump in on that a little bit. I am 100% support this.
Yeah. Oh, both of us really want to see more diverse coaching in front.
Well, not even that. I just think, and I honestly, I think that the Timberwolves could have handled it a lot better.
Agreed. For sure agreed.
I think they should have at least taken the time to, even if they knew Chris Finch was their guy, I think that they should have been more transparent in their interview process, at least taken time to meet, like, because it's okay. It's okay if Chris Finch was who Gerson wanted, because this is one of, if he's not successful with Chris Finch, I don't think he will be the Timberwolves GM much longer.
Probably not. And I think that definitely went into why he chose,
His guy,
Chris Finch, is because he's risking his job on a guy who he knows.
This is one of his last chances. So I think it's okay that he went with the guy that he wanted, and it's okay that the moment when he fired Ryan Saunders, he knew who he wanted as his head coach.
Yeah.
But I think that the organization as a whole, they could have handled it better. I think that
100% agreed.
And going on why we didn't hire David Vanderpool or even give him that intern position, I think that when your team is as much of a dumpster fire as the Minnesota Timberwolves are right now, you need to hire from outside. That's how you change the culture. You don't hire someone who's already on the bench when you're trying to change the culture. You need to have a complete restart, and you need to get a new guy from the outside. So that's another reason why I'm happy that we hired Chris Finch. And I know that he hasn't made much of an impact on our record right now, but I think we got to give him some time. And yeah, I think that we both agree with this statement, and that we think that the Timberwolves could have handled it a lot better. And we hope that in the future that the rest of the NBA teams that are hiring a new coach have a better hiring process. So that's all.
And I think that the thing is too, probably just more, it's tough because the Timberwolves aren't a very transparent organization, but it's got to be, there's got to be a level of transparency so the public isn't confused, I think. Is the issue there. So really excited. It's really nice we still have Vanderpool on the coaching staff.
I hope he goes somewhere.
I hope he finds a head coaching job, because I do think he deserves one. I think he's done his time as an assistant, and he's proven he can handle an organization by himself. So I hope, once the next round of head coaching vacancies comes next offseason, I really wish him the best, and I hope he gets one of those spots.
Because it would be selfish of us to say that we want him to be our defensive coordinator when we know he's overqualified to be that. I think he for sure deserves a chance to be a head coach, and we'd love to see that. And I guess the final thing I want to say in this, it's just tough that Chris Finch had to come in here with that negative connotation about him being the head coach. Like, it just sucks that the first news that you hear about him is how he got the job and how maybe it wasn't the fairest thing. But I hope he can prove that wrong and maybe turn this team around. So yeah,
we're happy. We're for sure happy with Chris Finch. We like the hire. All right, from King. All right, Peyton, Kawhi said, "Hey," how does he do it?
No. This is when he
this is a different one.
This is when he returned to LA, and he said, "Hey." He's on the mic. He's giving him the he's like, "Hey." I might throw the clip in here when I'm editing it, but that's what I was talking about, and King knew exactly what I was talking about, and there you go. I had to throw that comment in there to clear up the air.
That's our boy. All right, Iceman like Gervin. I think we had a response from him in one of the previous.
So I'll read this one because it's a pretty short one, so I think I can handle it. He said, "I think that the T-Wolves will end up including Jaden McDaniels in a trade for a more established player, and he will blow up on the court for another franchise like Zach LaVine did for the Bulls." What do you think about that?
I'm gonna disagree actually with this statement for a couple of reasons. The Zach LaVine situation, I think, is completely different than the Jaden McDaniels situation in that Zach LaVine already established himself as a young up and coming player. Like, he was averaging 20 points per game before he tore his ACL. A lot of people knew Zach LaVine was going to be a pretty good scoring guard. But at the moment, we don't really know what Jaden McDaniels is yet. And, I hope he becomes something like Zach LaVine did. I hope he becomes an all-star. But I think we all saw Zach LaVine and what he was doing. And I think Zach LaVine will probably have a better career than McDaniels will, just projection-wise. But it's too early to say, and I'm a little biased because I love Zach LaVine, so I'm gonna disagree with this comment. But maybe they'll trade him and he'll prove me wrong. So
I sure as hope that we do not trade Jaden McDaniels. I think that would just like when you get a guy like that so late in the draft and he has such a nice contract, a favorable contract for the team, you got to keep him, man. He's such a young, developable player
Yeah.
that if we traded him, I know he's probably got a very high his trade value right now is pretty high, I think.
Well, yeah, all rookies for sure.
Yeah, and I just think it would be a shame if we traded him because I would love to see him grow and develop with Ant and become a tandem in the future.
Yeah, you know, I yeah, it's tough. I'm Zach LaVine biased, so.
There you go.
Ronan, Ronan,
No.
Ronan?
No.
Question mark?
Ronan.
We need to sign some vets or trade a bit of our young pieces for vets that want to help teach a young team and who also knows winning. Okay, who also know winning basketball, like a Kevin Garnett type presence, or like a Tayshaun Prince when he was with us. If you'd want to be more modest, though, he couldn't shoot for his life, but he was like 40, so he's got a pass. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what we were kind of talking about earlier, I guess, is what vets are willing to come to a losing team. Not a lot. Most likely 99% of vets want to go play on a warm team, first of all, in a nice location, with maybe no income tax, or they want to play for a championship pedigree team. And we are none of which at the moment. So
let me hearing this Kevin Garnett, and then you're talking about what vet would want to come. I couldn't help but draw the comparison to a 4 who used to play here, who's getting old, and it seems like he's out. What about Kevin Love, man? What could we bring him back on a low contract? Maybe would that be a possibility?
So Kevin Love, I think, actually is on the Cavs are receiving offers for him right now. I mean, I brought this up in the past. I wouldn't mind a reunion with Kevin Love.
Think about that, man, dude.
I don't know his salary, but
I would cry. I think I would shed a tear if Kevin Love came back to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he would be a perfect fit on our roster.
I mean, a rebounding 4, a great passer, he can shoot.
I mean, my dad always talked about that he had the best outlet pass in NBA history.
The triple threat stance too. He had a great triple threat stance.
He's a Banana Republic model. I mean, I don't know what more you could want in a player. And dude,
Cleveland's ready to. Cleveland wants to go young. They're going to trade Drummond and probably Kevin Love. So I mean,
Okogie and Culver for Kevin Love.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Kevin Love's salary. I think he's actually a little bit overpaid at the. Oh, okay. I mean, forgot I was in this, but I think he's a little bit overpaid at the moment. So I don't know if you'd have to give him Rubio to match contracts. So I don't know. Because we don't really have a ton of cap space.
But I don't know, just reading this description and like, I don't know. I think that would be something that, and that will just make a lot of the fans kind of buy back in.
Like, yeah, I mean, I think he'd be open to the return.
Think about when Rubio returned, everyone was happy, and that was Ricky Rubio. Imagine if Kevin Love came back. I think a lot of people would come back and support the team again. So I think if Gerson's watching this episode, which I know he does regularly, I think that maybe think about that. That would be something. And if that happens, you heard it here first. Let's just say that.
True. You want to do this one or you want me?
Oh, I can handle this one. Rosas wanted Finch all along. Saunders was Taylor's guy. Do you think Ricky Rubio is worth the $17 million contract on this team? I don't think Ricky Rubio is worth the $17 million contract on this team.
Yeah, I agree with the top part. Rosas definitely wanted Finch all along. I think he loves Vanderpool too, but I think Finch was his guy. Saunders was Taylor's guy. Yeah. I mean, I think Saunders more so just because, you got to throw an interim coach in there. Why not let a young guy give it a try and maybe figure something out? Do you think Rubio's worth the $17 million contract on this team? No. Not on this team. On the Suns or on the Jazz, I think he's worth it. I really do think he's worth it on them.
When he came onto the team, no one was worried about his contract size.
No, but a backup point guard getting paid $17 million when our best player on the team this year is getting paid what? Is it 15 or 16?
Cat?
No. I think Malik's the best player in the team this year.
That's fair.
Malik's getting paid about the same or less. No, it's not. Obviously, like
not on this.
Maybe
team,
at the beginning of the year we thought it was fine, but no, it's not. He's not worth the money. We all know this. I mean, the turnovers, the late game, mistakes.
The comments are not worth
comments. I don't want to. Yeah, we don't even have to talk about that. No, he's not worth $17 million. I think the offense looks a lot more fluid, but it's too early to make rash comments. The firing of Ryan was an unfortunate circumstance, but necessary to move forward. Once D'Lo is back, we can judge more fairly. I would agree.
Yeah, at least once Beasley's back. Like if Beasley gets back and D'Lo's not back yet, then we can kind of start to make judgments. But without D'Lo and Beasley, we cannot judge the man. We can judge him maybe on his late game play call, but I don't even know if this team can be competitive in most late games. So he might not even get a chance to do some actual coaching just because our talent is just not there. And I mean, we got two of our best, you said our best player, Malik Beasley's out and D'Lo's out. Like you can't judge a team like that. Yeah. So
All right, Mason Schmidt. He's a longtime sub. I know that.
Yeah, we love Mason. We know he tunes into Spotify. Appreciate you, man. Like we really do, because we have a very small community of subscribers and fans, and like we know all of you guys by names. Like me and Chris will be like, oh yeah, did you see what Mason said in the like we know all of our, like all the people that have been with us from the beginning. So we just want to take a time out to just say thanks to Mason. I mean, you saw we included King Physique in the intro video. So like we love building this little community, and yeah, we appreciate you guys from the beginning, and we're not going to stop. Appreciate you guys no matter how big we get. So
for sure. So what roster moves would you guys like to see with the trade deadline approaching? What is one trade you would love to see?
All right. I mean, I already touched on this. I did not know what trade I was going to say before this talk started, but I just figured it out. I had an epiphany a few minutes ago, and I would love to see Kevin Love be brought back to the Timberwolves. I think that would be the best move. But you also got Aaron Gordon or John Collins. But I think that bring Kevin Love back. I think that's the move. That's what I'm gonna die on right now. What do you think about that, Chris?
I mean, yeah, what roster move would I like to see?
Love.
I mean, I would love to see. I would love like. I'm not gonna lie with you. I would love John Collins. I mean, he's what we need. He's a rebounder, and he can shoot. He's exactly what Gerson wants at the 4. So I would love to see him. Would he sign a contract extension? I hope so. Who would we have to give up? Probably a first.
Can you trade? I thought you can't trade first and
you can't trade consecutive first, so we'd have to give them a 2023 first. So
I know that from 2K.
Yeah, the stipend rule. Yeah, I would love to see just a 4. I would love to see a competent 4 who we don't have to keep circling Vanderbilt, McDaniels, Layman, and Wancho in and out for. I don't want to see a circus at the 4 position. I just want to see the same guy.
I would love to see us move on from Jake Layman. I forgot to bring this up, but last night in the game, he had a great dunk at the end of the half. And then he's just started running. He ran back on defense, and then he just started sprinting forward. Like the camera was trying to go to him to like show his face after the dunk, and then he just starts sprinting forward. And you're like, what is he doing? They inbound the ball, make 2 passes, and they get a wide open layup at the end of the half because he's just like, what? Like you make a great play and then you do that.
Yeah. So I'd love to see a way to get rid of Wancho and Jake Layman.
Turn that into KLOVE, man.
If we could package that into, I like the Kevin Love idea. I do like it. So those are a couple of our what we'd like to. So I would just put a big number 4 for that comment. A big number 4. We want to see a 4.
We want to see a 4. Sick. But yeah, guys, that's all. That's kind of all we got right now. Again, tough time to be a Timberwolves fan. We know, but we're here for you guys. And we'll always respond to your comments. If you guys want to talk about it, we're here to help the sad Timberwolves fans. But we're trying to be positive about it. Thank you for tuning in. Spotify and Apple Podcasts is another spot where you can listen to this episode. And you know what, guys? Hope you have a great week. Thank you, Chris, for taking time out of the day.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.